Goinant. Good evening, everyone. Steve here from Cosmic Banter. I'm really excited about tonight's episode. Our guest is Reese from South Africa, and she has a spine-chilling story to share. Reese was actually the first guest I ever interviewed over Zoom, and we did run into a couple of hiccups due to some connection issues. The audio isn't the best, and also Reese was accidentally wearing clothing that gave away her employer, so we're sticking with audio only tonight. Now, I have to say, while Reese was telling her story, she was literally shaking and almost in tears. So you know this is going to be intense. And by the way, I absolutely adore the South African accent. Just makes everything sound that much cooler, doesn't it? Yeah, look, I was so intrigued by Reese's story. It's a classic spooky tale with elements of black magic that really draws you in. Because of the audio and Zoom issues, we're placing this episode in Season 0, our pilot season, whilst I learn the ropes of interviewing and production. But enough from me. Let's get straight into it. You're listening to the Cosmic Banter Podcast. This is Season 0, Episode 3, and the title is The Box by the Lake, Black Magick Unleashed. Enjoy.
So basically, me and my friends from varsity, we tend to have say about 4 months worth, each one have our own savings that we just go all out. We go camp, and we try to do it at least twice a year just to catch up, because obviously we don't all, go and study the same things. So we don't always see each other. So we try to get at least twice a year together and just have a good time, catch up. And if there's a birthday that goes with it, it's even better, So that's pretty much what happened. We had a birthday party at a local lake in the Northwest province, because that's where the university is at. And yeah, so obviously we, being students, we always do a bit extra, chilling near the lake, having a campfire, having a braai. So, yeah, that being said, there was obviously substances involved, but most of the people are chilled with whatever we usually throw to them. So when it started getting dark. So we started a fire, because obviously we've been drinking, so we're getting hungry, and we're like, okay, who's got chops, who's got voer, let's have a braai. So we did it, and we decided, okay, some of our friends decided to go and have a swim while we wait for the fire to get ready so we can cook the food. And they decided, okay, let's explore it, because it's quite a big lake. So some of my friends went underneath. They did this whole scuba thing, and they found a jewellery box in the lake.
In the dark?
Near the jetty. They took it out, and they wanted to investigate. What is this jewellery box? Obviously, being students, if you can get a few, something valuable out of it and go pawn it, I mean, why not?
Exactly.
So, yeah. What I first saw was the fact that there was wax on it. And I thought, this is quite bizarre. Why is there wax on it? So looking at it, I also saw underneath the wax it's chained up, but it's pretty good chained up, it's odd. So in the fire, obviously we tried to see what's going on around the box. And next thing I saw, there's this odd language. Like I can't make out what this is. There's something written on it, but I can't make out because obviously there's wax and everything. And being seemed like a few years already in the lake. There's algae on it. There's, you know what I'm saying. So there's a lot going on at that moment. So at that moment, so if I just want to give you a bit more context what it means to be clairvoyant, claircognizant, and clairaudient.
Yes, please do.
Now, I'm the only friend in my in my group that actually has these abilities. So when you talk about clairvoyancy, it's basically the feeling and seeing of spirits. When you talk about claircognizance, it's intuitively knowing or understanding information, insights, or truth without someone actually telling you about it. And clairaudient is the ability to hear things. So it's obviously, it comes in various shapes and forms. As they took out the box, my one friend wanted to smash it open because we couldn't get it open. They started to peel the wax off it. At that moment, I just heard it's been locked up for the next 200 years. That's all I heard, but no one said anything around me. So I thought, okay, what the fuck's this about? And yeah, so basically that gave me...
I don't want to interrupt too much. So just to clarify, you heard this voice. It was no one else, none of your other friends. Did it sound external, or is it like in your head? What is that like? What do you mean you heard a voice?
So basically it is in my head. I know it sounds bizarre, but it's... Some people in the spiritual community kind of calls it a download.
Right, I have heard the term.
People can probably...
Yes.
Yeah. So that does happen sometimes. So you get this random message in your head. It's not your own voice. I mean, not everyone has an inside voice, but most people who do, you know what it sounds like. At the end of the day, it was not mine. So that was very weird. So I was a bit scared, and I told them, like, listen, guys, this is not a good idea. Just bury it or just go throw it back into the lake. This is not good. So my one friend decided, no, man, you're just paranoid. I'm like, okay, you do you. So I decided I am getting out of there. I'm not going to be a part of this. You don't want to listen to reason. It's fine. That's your problem. I started packing my bags. Now I'm on my way to my car. I'm going to go. I don't have time for this. I don't want any part of it. As I was walking away to my car, I get there. Now, obviously, I am a bit shaken up. So I'm kind of like getting this odd sense of, I'm about to start hyperventilating. I'm very anxious. Like something's not right. So I started the car. Now, as I see in the far distance, the flame of the fire starts to dim. Almost like I can't even explain it. It's so weird. So it gets dimmer and dimmer. And next thing I know, it's pitch black. The fire's out. I can't see anything.
Right.
Yeah. So I start the car and I start reversing.
And can I just ask, are you hearing the voices of your friends at the stage, or what's going on from what you can hear?
Not yet. I just heard absolutely silence, which is weird. I mean, we're in the middle of a lake, basically, where it's surrounded by nature, a lot of trees. It's almost a forest-like vibe. So obviously there should be noises in a distance, whether it's birds or whatever the case may be. There was absolute silence. And next thing I hear is my friend starting to scream. I'm talking about that, that blood-curdling scream. I'm starting to shake as I'm telling this story. I'm so sorry.
No.
So basically what happened was they came. Well, I saw about 4 of my friends running towards the car, but they were obviously very, very shook up. And they basically start screaming at me, start the car, go, go, go. So obviously me being hyperventilating at that moment already, this is just worsening everything. So I start the car. Some of them get in. And as I drive out, the friend that opened up the box, he jumps on the boot, like at the back of the car. What I saw was his eyes was like solidly white. It's not like when someone is blind or anything. It was so weird. It was so bizarre. Like literally this snow white. And he laughed, but the laugh was very, I don't know how to explain it. It was, yo. But yeah,
Oh, no, that's
basically
all right.
he was laughing hysterically, but
Try and explain.
it wasn't his voice. It was almost as if it's this maniacal type of laughter, like, when someone starts laughing hysterically, you can hear, okay, there's joy in their voice.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that makes sense.
Yes.
It wasn't like that. It was like almost like the laugh was, I'm gonna get you, if that kind of makes sense. Like I'm about to fuck shit up. Like shit's real. Oh, obviously I got a fright when he jumped on the boot. I pumped the brakes, obviously, sending him into the back of the car, the window, cracking the window. And it was basically over here on his left cheek that it was smashed into the back of the window. So there's blood, cheek is open. He fell to the ground. Now, obviously, being my friend, I had to check if he's okay. I got out the car. Took a few moments to like get him to again, But when he came to, he didn't know what was going on around him. Like he didn't know anything what just happened. It's as if it never happened. So first thing I thought was, okay, maybe he has, it's a pretty hard hit to the head, if I can put it like that. So maybe he got a concussion of some sort that he can't remember. Seems like it's not the situation. He just doesn't remember anything from the moment that he smashed open the box. It's like he blacked out.
Wow.
Yeah. So from that day, my friends, I've asked them numerous times, like, listen, what happened after I left? After I went to the car, what happened? Nobody wants to say anything. They just brush it off. They walk away, or they just, nope. They just don't.
Why do you think that?
So
Why do
until
you think
today,
that is?
whatever was in that box, it was obviously not of this earth. It was locked inside there, and it wasn't supposed to get out. I think the voice that I heard, the fact that it's locked up for 200 years, means that this is a high-ranking demon. The way it was sealed, the carvings, a high-ranking demon.
Is that a term? Is that like a term used in... I've never heard that before, a high-ranking demon.
Yeah, so basically, some call it deity. Yeah, so the way it was locked, even the markings, obviously, I didn't understand the markings itself. It was a language, obviously, but I don't know the language. I've never seen it before. So usually when people do that, they tend to seal it with red and black wax with a chain, with the markings, because it's technically a spell to keep it locked inside.
Okay.
Yeah. So about 2 years after that, we decided to buy the one, what was it? It was the local newspaper, just to see, we need like extra job for money, whatever, being students. Let's, check if there's any vacancies that we can maybe like go bartend or whatever the case may be. And we saw they found a whole like altar, basically, altar and signs of witchcraft over there. And it was like 30 meters away from where we were camping.
No.
It's so bizarre. So they also found human remains there. So whatever happened there, I think personally it was a human sacrifice. That's the only thing that makes sense for me. But yeah, like it was terrible.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And
So
I mean, we know that, whether you believe in, the world of the esoteric or not, we know for a fact that there are sort of satanic rituals and human sacrifices that have gone on throughout history and probably continue to. So, but
yeah,
that was
hundreds.
the news of reading that was paired with it was located, would you say, about 30 meters from where you found this box and where you were camping?
Yes.
How did that make you feel when you were you looking at the newspaper with the same friends? And what was the vibe? How did you guys respond to that?
So my one friend actually collapsed.
What?
My one friend actually collapsed after they read that. Obviously, we trying to like understand what was going on. We thought it's just, low blood sugar or whatever. Because, yeah, it's normal. You don't always eat while you are in class. You are there from about 7:30 a.m. until 6 p.m., having classes throughout the day, only an hour lunch or whatever, if you're lucky. So we thought, yeah, maybe it's just a medical condition, nothing serious. But it took about 2 hours to get them to. And this was the same friend that opened the box.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was hectic. Some of my other friends they decided to like not read newspapers ever again.
So would you say it was was it he or she? He didn't remember anything after opening the box, after he, fell his head on the windshield. Nevertheless, when he read the paper and that story in the paper, it was obviously enough to bring back the trauma that he passed out for 2 hours.
Pretty much.
That's strange, because if someone collapses, Reese, so if someone faints, right, as you say, low blood sugar, haven't eaten enough or drunk enough, they faint, and then you get them back up again within probably 60 seconds. So what was happening for 2 hours? Like he was in a deep sleep? What was going on?
Basically, so when you're in REM sleep, your eyes usually move.
Yes.
That's pretty much what happened. We couldn't get him out of REM sleep.
When he woke up, did he say anything? Did he dream anything?
Fuck all.
Fuck all.
He doesn't even remember passing out. So obviously there is a lot of repressed things that he hasn't dealt with. I'm so sorry, I'm shaky.
No, don't apologize. It makes it all the more authentic, but I'm sorry that it's affected you this way. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course.
And you did mention to me in our email exchange that because I asked, would your friends, be willing to perhaps speak to me and keep it completely anonymous? But I thought perhaps that was their concern, was their anonymity, but it's clearly, even just from seeing you right now, clearly deeper than that. It's about the memory and the feelings that come along with that. Would that be right?
100%. 100%. Like I'm shaking as we speak. So.
I can see you shaking. Don't worry. We can just chill. While I've got you, I mean, obviously you were comfortable enough to speak with me, so I really, really appreciate that. And you didn't even get to witness, whatever your friends saw. Apart, and yet it has shaken you up this much. How long ago was this, Reese?
6-7 years ago.
Okay, that's a decent amount of time that's passed. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were going to say something?
No. No, it was about 7 years ago, six and a half, give or take. So it is a significant amount of time that went by. But obviously, we as humans are not really supposed to be encountering things like this because we cannot comprehend it. We are just not supposed to comprehend things like this. So it obviously has a very negative effect on the body itself. So
the body keeps the score, right? So I appreciate you're emotional, so I hope this is not an inappropriate question, but I have to ask, what do you think was in the box? I mean, your friends refused to talk about it, but do you think it was like an energy in the sense of, like a vibe, an energy came out, or do you think there was something tangible that they could see come out of the box?
I think personally they saw something.
Really?
I personally think they saw something.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. 100%. They had to see something. If that's the way they respond, they had to see something.
Oh, at no point from when they came back into the car right up until today's date, current day, have they alluded to anything, like given you any hints as to, and they don't even want to entertain the idea of even speaking about it?
Not at all. So
my God.
I can see within their eyes, basically, if I do bring it up, they are automatically scared. They don't want any part of it whatsoever.
Wow. I'm glad that you didn't have to go through what they went through, but if this is how much it has impacted even you.
No, it's hectic.
It is hectic. That story is hectic, Reese. That's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
When you say your friend's eyes were like snow white, so obviously everyone has the whites of their eyeballs, and then everyone has different coloured eyes, and then black pupils. So are you saying there was no pupil and no colour?
Nothing, just white.
How is that possible?
Yeah, I do not know. No, it is not. That's the thing.
I don't know of any drug that can induce that. You take LSD and your pupils grow like bloody saucers, but
that's the weird thing, because that friend was on mescaline, and that usually dilates your pupils like hectic. I don't know. I can't explain it. Like, it was as if usually when you have. Sorry, I'm so shaken.
It's okay. It's fine. It's honestly fine. Take your time.
If you have contacts in, obviously you get pretty legit contacts nowadays. Even if you have contacts in, if you have white contacts in, because some people do like to cosplay and shit like that. Ah,
yes.
You can still see the pupil. You can still see it. But it was like as if there was nothing. It was,
Well, I was going into this call thinking that from our brief email exchange that it was a really interesting story, but there wasn't any sort of conclusion because you yourself didn't actually know what had gone on and your friends refused to talk to you. And I thought, how am I going to, make this interesting, ask some interesting questions, but I was not expecting that level of detail. That's wild. Can I ask, and not to bring the tone down or anything, I believe you 100%. I'm conscious as a new host to the Cosmic Banter podcast that I have to perhaps ask, what some listeners may be thinking. Now, I myself, I'll openly admit I've used psychedelics myself. So my perspective on, drugs, in particular psychedelics, is for the most part, they enhance colors. There's trails. You may have closed-eyed visuals. If you close your eyes, you have visions like you're dreaming, but you would have to be on really high doses of mescaline, LSD, shrooms to full-blown hallucinate. But nevertheless, there'll be people listening that perhaps have never done psychedelics, or they're against drugs or whatever. So what would you say to people that are skeptical, saying, oh, well, you lost me at mescaline, you guys were all just high? Do you want to, what would you say to that?
Let's put it this way. I usually don't do any drugs. My only form of, some people call it drugs, I call it a plant. I only do weed. That's my thing. Like
Dirt and poison?
So absolutely.
Oh, that just brings when I was in high school and I was first experimenting and I was researching all the different strains, Durban poison came up as one of the top ones in the world. I just had to mention. It's good, is it? Okay. Oh,
it's brilliant.
I don't smoke anymore, but that's funny.
But like I'm pretty sure, like if I did anything more, I would not have responded the way I did. So whatever they saw and experienced, it's 100% not the drugs. Because if you have a traumatic experience in that very moment, whether you are under the influence of alcohol, whether you are on whatever drug, you get a fright that instantaneously makes you sober.
That's a good point.
It's just your body's way of fight or flight. It's time to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
So that's basically, that's my point of view. You can be skeptical all you want, but it is what it is.
Absolutely. And I 100% believe you. So I want you to know when I'm asking these questions, it's not because I'm doubting you at all, but if I'm playing devil's advocate, some people may say, well, yes, but if you're on a high dose of psychedelics, it can, incite a state that is incredibly traumatic, and you do, things are misrepresented, and you see and feel things that aren't there, or you mistake shadows for this, or there was a jewellery box that was found and the vibe was eerie, but when it was opened, with the mixture of drugs and a bit of paranoia and mystery, that sort of energy, that sort of vibe could be perhaps curated yourselves in your mind. That's what some people would say.
Yeah.
So, but I do hear what you're saying with, even if you're quite under the influence of something really, really frightening happens, it does tend to shake you into sobriety, doesn't it?
It does, 100%. I mean, I smoked, well, we call it a King Kong finger.
That paints a picture, yeah.
So I rolled it myself and I smoked it myself, and it was pretty good indoor. It's a new strain that we got from Holland. And it was within the next 45 minutes, it's as if I haven't smoked at all. So I was clear-minded, except obviously for the fact that I was shaken up at that moment,
You're still shaking, yeah. When you hear this voice saying it's 200 years old, did it just say that, or did it sort of tell you to stay clear?
Basically, stay clear. It has been locked up for 200 years. Now, basically, we at that moment, or I myself, obviously don't know how long it's been there, But given how it looked, it has been there for at least 2 years. So obviously, whatever was in that box was supposed to be there for a longer time.
And when you went back to the car and your friends hopped into the car, that the other friend who had opened the box and who smashed into the back windscreen. So why was he out of the car? Were you guys initially trying to flee without him, or?
No, I think personally, whatever was in that box came out, probably somehow fucking possessed that guy. And yeah, it's very hard to explain. Like, whatever was in there went into him. And that's why they started running and screaming. That's what I think. So they were running from him.
Oh my God. How has he been doing since then? And then obviously he responded to that news article by sort of fainting for a couple of hours. And obviously he says he can't remember anything, but his body remembers the trauma. But has he been going about life much the same? How's he doing?
Basically, he gets 3 times a week therapy. He has been under hypnosis quite a few times, trying to sort out the repressed memories so that he can actually deal with what happened. But it is a very long progress because of the traumatic experience. Not always, how can I put it, like the hypnosis works, but only so far. It is so much repressed that his body and his mind does not want to physically recall what happened. But yeah, he's doing okay. He has, from that moment, I think he actually spoke to me like a month after he fainted after the article. And he told me, like, I repented, I came back to the Lord, and he actually started studying to be a minister.
Wow. The other element to the story is that I'm curious about. You're in South Africa. Now, I'm not super familiar with South African history. You appear to be sort of of European descent. 200 years ago, what was the situation in South Africa? And I guess my question being, do you think this was, Dutch settlers or whatever it may be performing a satanic ritual, or do you think with the carvings, etc., you saw on the box that it was more in line with indigenous tribes, or what? Who do you think participated in this?
So I honestly don't think it's been that long. I think this was, if we talk about 6.5 years ago, I think personally, okay, let's see, it should be around 2 years before that. It was relatively newish, if I can put it like. There wasn't so much decay of the box, so it was rather fresh. So the way I understand it, if you do a ritual, depending on your religion, obviously some people just, they rather work with deities than angels. So that being said, I think they probably tried some form of summoning of a deity, one very high-ranking demon or prince even, to get their ways on earth. That's the only thing that makes sense for me. So I don't think that it is Dutch settlers or anything like that. It's just someone that wanted something for their own wealth, basically. That's what people do. So there have been articles surrounding Northwest Province the past few years, having satanic cults, and where they perform rituals, they actually spread out. For those who maybe know, near the Northwest University, there is a place called the Snow Factory, Now, this is where they actually used to make flour, the molds over there, but it was abandoned. That's also one of the satanic ritual spots that has been seen to operate there or from there. So they can actually go and look and Google it. It's legit. It's on it's on the South African Police Service website. If you go look through the articles, it's there.
And what's the name of the place again, sorry?
This Snow Factory or something like that.
Snow Factory, okay. And I mean, you hear about this all the time. I mean, not all the time, but these satanic rituals take place all over the world. And I think most people can agree that these sorts of rituals take place. But this story you're sharing adds a whole other element to that, which is that there's something that is summoned or something that was put back into that jewelry box. That's not just symbolic. This is
100%.
real.
Yeah. No, they obviously summoned the wrong demon, if I can put it like that. They couldn't get what they wanted on Earth, whether it's wealth, it can be anything that they summon someone or something. So obviously they couldn't handle it. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing when they summoned it. So they tried to put it away so that it cannot harm them or their family.
Right. Okay, I understand now. So they summoned, in these sorts of rituals, the aim is normally to summon a deity for a specific request, and in order to receive that, they must sacrifice. Is that correct? So,
yeah.
And then that's what was reported in this newspaper article, that human remains in the area were found. So that would have been the sacrifice. And then they put this demon, this deity, whatever you want to call it, back into this jewelry box or into a jewelry box. So, so when I think of, I don't know what to think quite. I don't know much about satanic cults or rituals, but I sort of assume that these people who are participating in these sorts of things are, I don't know, evil, or they're not scared. But even these people would have been scared enough to put
100% to lock it away. 100%. 100%. Because usually what happens if, obviously, think about contracts in our world, right? If you sign a contract, you're bound to it.
Yeah.
Same thing with that. Only you basically, if you don't fulfill your side of the contract, then either yourself or your next of kin will become the target.
I know that you can only speculate, but you know a lot more about this topic than I do. So what do you think happened? Do you think that they summoned this thing and they sacrificed, but it wasn't enough of a sacrifice?
Probably. It can be so many things. It can be that it was not enough, not a pure enough soul that they sacrificed, perhaps. Because the purer, the better, obviously.
I'm just, yeah. I can see how, I can see how much this upsets you. So I wasn't expecting that level of detail and that level of impact it had on you. I'm so sorry. I can see that it still really affects you, doesn't it?
It does, pretty much. Something that I don't normally share with people, but I know obviously some people need to hear this type of things, because obviously out there they get similar situations that they get thrown into that they're not even aware of. So if there's anyone out there that gets the same similar, whatever it may be, whether they've started to notice anything weird around themselves, around their family, that they maybe can put one and one together and then obviously know where to go from there.
What would you say to anyone thinking of, sort of exploring that realm of, if they perhaps hear that there are spells and rituals that they can participate in to get ahead, to get wealthy, if they're considering doing that, what are the potential consequences?
Nothing good, definitely. Don't be stupid, because if you can't pay for it, someone else you love will.
Is this what is known as black magic?
Yeah.
And how would one even begin to summon and
There's always
interact?
So basically how it works is, obviously there's ranks. So say, for example, if you want to start, there's always a high priest or a high priestess that does these things. Obviously they train you if you want to go that route. So think about the Freemasons, for example. If the highest ranking is 33 degrees, that's the master. You can't go above that. So obviously you need someone that knows their things. It's been passed on from generation to generation. So, but yeah, anyone that wants to do this, they need to really, really, really reconsider. It is, you know how they talk about, what's the word I'm looking for? Generational curses, if I can put it like that.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah, so this is also how it goes. It may not affect you or your next of kin in this lifetime, but 300 years from now, if you have someone that is spiritual, from your legacy way back when to now, it's going to affect you. Because obviously you are gifted with, for example, clairvoyance or claircognizant even. So they know they can get a hold of you. You can see them, you can hear them. So they will start affecting you so that they can get their contract fulfilled.
It's terrifying. And so how does, if one doesn't have the skill of clairvoyance or psychic abilities, does the deity just skip them and it keeps going down the generations until they can access someone, or can that person still be affected without even knowing?
Normally, but most of the times they get affected without even knowing. You might think, okay, the window is open, there is a bottle that just fell off from the dresser or whatever the case may be. You think, oh, okay, there's a logical explanation for that. But it cannot be as well. It might be something lurking or waiting.
Can I ask a personal question?
Yeah.
When you're shaking and clearly so shook from telling the story, what about it specifically upsets you? Is it the memory of seeing your friend, or is it knowing what must have gone on that you didn't witness?
Both, to be honest. Both. But the second part, that's the one that gets me the most, because obviously, like I said earlier, we are not supposed to comprehend things like this. We cannot. We simply cannot. Our minds cannot wrap around it. So your body automatically releases this type of trauma in a different way.
Yeah. Well, if this may sound trite, but feeling you positive, loving light right now. I don't know. I'm no energy worker. I'm not clairvoyant, but the intent, the thought is there, because I see just how traumatic this experience has been for you.
Yeah.
How are you doing for time? Because I'm curious. I do have a couple of more questions.
can we reschedule for tomorrow maybe? Then we can have like another chat or okay.
Of course. And I'm perhaps pushing it a bit as well because you've taken a lot of emotional energy to get this far. So I really, really appreciate that. And thank you so much.
Of course. It's only a pleasure.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks, Reese, for sharing your story. That's, it means a lot that you take your time to email and to speak with me, because I know that, as you've said, this is not something you speak about really with anyone. So thank you so much.
No problem.
I don't know how to end this on a light note now.
No, as long as there's light, the darkness is fine. You just need to be the light, that's all.
Well, how spooky was that? I wonder if we'll ever get an update on exactly what Reese's friends saw come out of that box. Thanks so much, Reese, for sharing your story tonight. It was absolutely chilling. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you that I have a donations link in the show notes if you'd like to support this podcast. Now Payments accepts donations in over 300 different cryptocurrencies, and your contributions are completely anonymous. I'm also working on getting credit card and Apple Pay options integrated with Now Payments. But for the time being, crypto's the option, and honestly, it's cheaper and faster for everyone. If you're new to crypto, give it a go. It's much easier than you think, I promise. A crypto address works kind of like a bank account number. It's where your donation gets sent to. If you're based in New Zealand, you can bank transfer New Zealand dollars to easycrypto.com, and they'll deposit it directly into the crypto address that Now Payments provides for you. For those of you in Australia, the UK, the US, or anywhere else really, Coinbase is probably the most trusted and user-friendly exchange to purchase and send your crypto from. Give it a try. It's a great way to support this new creative venture, and starting out as an aspiring content creator is a huge uphill battle, especially in meeting the criteria for ad revenue. So your support truly does make a difference. Tap that donation link in the show notes. Your support means more than you'll ever know. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay curious, and when the phenomenon decides to reach you, I hope that you decide to reach out to Cosmic Banter. Good night.